Right, we'll see whether some people want to join, and then we'll get straight to it. We're going to start off by just having a little update as to what happened in the premium channel last week. A few changes moving forward, but apart from that, we'll dive straight into it. We had a look at the economic calendar moving forward for this week. There isn't much to really go off. It's quite clear week in terms of data points. Majority of this week will be traded on TA and what the charts are actually showing us. And then obviously anything that's kind of popping up in terms of news in terms of this week, so anything that just kind of comes up unexpectedly, more so when we're kind of talking about unexpectedly, realistically, what could come up that could change volatility or increase volatility is anything to do with obviously this Russia conflict that we are seeing, and that's kind of picking up fire as time kind of moves on. We had a little look at our news outlets in terms of any news linked to crypto. Again, quite free. The only major sort of news is again the Russia sort of conflict that's going on currently, but then we will also touch on some Glassnode points, just to kind of back up kind of our TA and just kind of give us a better idea of the sort of direction of the market moving forward. So in terms of the premium channel, so the last 2.5 weeks has been quite slow. Nonetheless, we still pulled profits 2 weeks ago, was quite minimal. But again, it was a net positive figure in terms of profit. So we still came out on top, whether it be small. And in terms of last week, again, it was a slow week, not a lot of volatility in the market. However, we fully ended the week on a high note. Put it in, I think if I'm right, I did send it in, I think it was something like 450%, maybe 480%. So still a very, very good week, all in all. Albeit very slow. We are seeing a little bit of introduction in terms of volatility, a bit of a volume pickup. There's a bit more restructuring happening, which is great. However, overall market sentiment is still extremely bearish, so we should realistically still be looking at shorts moving forward. Currently, we have sent out one signal, and let me just double check what profit we are on. Last time I checked, we were on something like 80% profit. Prices are kind of seeing a little bit of a push up, but that's completely fine. So we're on 60% profit within, it's not even been long, I'll check now. So signal got sent out at 5:15. So what's that? Just a little under 3 hours. So great result. First day of the week. Moving forward, just wanted to also announce that we are not going to be trading anymore on weekends. It actually works out better than staying out of trades over a weekend than going into trades on a weekend, even if the markets are quite clear in terms of structure and direction. It's better just to stay out of the trades on the weekend and kind of have that time to kind of relax, kind of gather brain power, and then kind of sit back and see what the market does over the weekend. kind of analyze any news that's coming going forward. And then normally Mondays, first half of Mondays is always good just to sit at the desk and just watch price. Okay, then going into the second half of Monday is kind of when it's better to take trades. Realistically, you really only want to be trading between or going into trades between Tuesday and Thursday, leaving Thursday, Friday to close the trades that you have currently open if you have any. Okay, so normally you do not want to really be entering any trades on Friday and even second half of Thursday, really. Just because volume really does tail off, and a lot of the times you do see a switch up in terms of direction to the overall strength of the market going into second half of Thursday and going into Friday. So normally you kind of want to cash in those profits and close off the week. And obviously it's a complete bonus if you can close off the week on a good profit level by Friday or early Friday or even late Thursday. It's good in terms of doing this and getting in good practice of doing this because it is a great way of kind of practicing patience because you're still entering trades. So it's not like you're left with not entering any trades for the week. You're still obviously trading during the week. It just means that you kind of close everything off for the weekend and then you relax and you get to enjoy your time doing other things, obviously. So that's kind of the rules that we're sticking by. Obviously, we do also have our rules in terms of how much margin that you put on each trade and obviously the leverage. So the second or the other announcement that we kind of want to make is that we will no longer be using Binance. We did send in a message in both premium and free in terms of obviously we won't be using Binance moving forward. Unfortunately, as unless you are a professional, considered a professional trader or investor, Binance will not allow anyone from the UK to be trading their derivatives products. So I think if you kind of verify yourself now, I think so just as a retail trader, I think you still have access until May, but then May moving forward, you will no longer be able to do that unless obviously you have been given the go ahead by the FCA here in the UK. So kind of you basically need a license or be considered as a professional trader. So kind of involved in the finance industry for that. So we won't be doing that because obviously one, we are still kind of moving forward in terms of getting these licenses ourselves. We are moving forward with the CFA charter, but obviously that takes time in itself to get, as it is considered the gold standard in the finance industry, and it does take a few years to even get to that point of actually completing it. That being said, obviously the charting on TradingView that we use, you have specific charts linked to the coins and also the exchange. Okay, so there's small variances in prices, so it makes sense to obviously use the chart for the exchange that you're using clearly, and obviously majority of our clients are retail traders or considered retail traders. So after May, majority of our premium snipers will not be able to use Binance, so it makes sense to obviously kind of make the move. So the exchange that we will be using is Qcoin. They have proper KYC. They are still yet to be completely regulated by the FCA over here. However, they have got a little bit more regulation than Binance, so you are only allowed to use 20 times leverage as your maximum, which is also in line with our rules in terms of our channel trading rules. So we will be using that. We will be dropping down the link in both chats. So if you actually use that link, you get a commission kickback from using that link, whilst also we get some as well. We do try to obviously be transparent. We don't want to completely take all the commission, so we will give a kickback back on the commission if you use that link, rather than you obviously just making an account and receiving nothing. So we will be posting our referral link into the chat, so if you just hold off, and then you can create the account, input all of your details in terms of obviously your driver's license or documentation, just to get verified. We do recommend for you guys to obviously get verified, because it will mean that you are able to deposit and withdraw the same way that Binance allowed you guys to do, rather than obviously if you do not do the uploading of the verification in terms of documentation and everything else, you will have to obviously deposit through Coinbase, let's say, and then move it over. But obviously that's incurring costs, so it just makes sense to get yourself verified correctly on there, and it kind of just saves you from having any of these problems that obviously Binance are having in terms of with it's not just UK actually, it's in terms of the Europe in general as well, in terms of obviously kind of the regulation in Europe. It's a bit of a bummer, but yeah, we're making the move over to Qcoin. It's a very similar platform. The only downfall is that it doesn't have as many altcoins. However, it still has a lot of altcoins that we can trade, and all of the majority of the important or big altcoins that you have seen us trade in recent times. If Binance obviously sort their stuff out and allow us to, well, allow UK citizens to obviously get back involved, we'll then deal with that later on. Just because Binance is a fantastic platform for crypto trading. It's great. It's got the most altcoins to trade. It's what we're used to. But again, we did have a look at other exchanges. We had a look at FTX. However, FTX is very similar in the sense of KYC. If you're a retail trader, they completely block you. So it's just pointless on going to FTX. So Qcoin doesn't ask you whether you're a retail professional or whatever. It just asks you to obviously put in your documentation. So we will be going forward with Qcoin. So in terms of that, we'll then move over to economic calendar. Again, just like we said at the start, it's quite clear in terms of economic data. So we've got some GDP figures, which isn't major. Again, there really isn't much. There's inflation and employment rates, claimant count. Obviously, that's all kind of linked together with unemployment, GDP in the euro area. Yeah, and then we've got some inflation data coming out. But again, it's nothing major. FOMC minutes. But yeah, it really is quite a clear week this week. So a lot of it will be dependent on what's kind of being said on the charts. Again, in terms of news, obviously we've got the whole Russia conflict. That's what we'll be looking at. Obviously, Super Bowl. Whenever we get to this point, we do see an uptick in volatility in terms of the crypto market. But obviously, we are very much bearish, so we'll have to see how things kind of work out at that point. Yeah, apart from that, there really isn't much else to kind of talk about as of yet. It's very much quite clear. We've obviously got the Russia Ukraine conflict kind of overbearing anything else. So we'll keep an eye on that as it develops. So in terms of TA, okay. In terms of TA, again, so we got this nice little move up here, and then we actually tested this order block over here, found some sensitivity. So this is the order block over here, but as you can clearly see, price actually came down here, and that's where it felt sensitivity. You would actually regard this, or kind of settling at this point here, quite bullish. Okay, however, it's struggling to make any moves up. Okay, so when you actually go down to the lower time frames, this is looking more bearish than bullish. Okay, volume isn't really there. We've got a nice little uptick, however, obviously it counteracted that with a red candle. You can actually consider that as almost an engulfing candle. It's holding this level over here, all right. However, we feel like prices should at the very least come down to about 41, test this level out here before potentially making a move back up. Okay, we don't expect it to move all the way just straight up here. We were waiting for a potential move, so as price kind of moved up in this section over here, we're seeing whether prices would come up and test this order block over here. However, there just wasn't really any momentum. As you can see, going down to the 1 hour, started to find resistance at the 100 moving average, and that was making a turn to the downside. Okay, so we are looking at potential move down towards 41,000. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the overall market. We're still looking bearish. Obviously, we've got these two levels over here. So we got this quite key level at 40. Okay, so prices realistically to continue to really come down will have to break this level over here. If they stick to this level over here, then we can expect a continuation, an actual tap of this $48,000 to $46,000. Again, volume has completely tailed off. Okay, so it's one thing to keep an eye out for. We've got this level over here, okay, where it used to be past resistance, broke out, could be potential new support. We've got these two order blocks just here. So we've got a small one just here at 38, and then one just below over here at 37, or just below 37, okay. So prices could come all the way down, do actually complete a squaring up of the move, okay, at this point over here, and then start seeing an uptick again, where we'll then have to see how prices kind of lock and price action reacts. But this is your key level over here. It's 40,000. That's what we're keeping an eye out for and seeing how price action actually reacts to that point. Okay, so if it's able to stick and reject 40,000, then we kind of know that's more of a solid support level, and then prices can actually make their way up towards this order block over here that we've kind of painted out for a while now. So what else do we want to touch on? So even on the weekly, so if we take all the TA out, you clearly see that I mean, it doesn't exactly look majorly bullish, does it really? Prices could even make it all the way down to 39,000, if not even lower. Okay, so we could actually get a very high volatile move coming down all the way down. Got a little bit of an uptick on selling prior to this big green candle over here. Okay, so we could actually just get a cascading sort of effect all the way down. 20,000 is a great bottom, okay, which we have noted here. Our very bottom is obviously all the way back here at between 15 and 12.5. However, that is extremely low. Ideally, we want to see a 20,000 test, really. That would be a great bottom. But obviously, we just go with the flow and kind of see what price action kind of does as each week kind of advances. So this is why we kind of do these pre-market analysis, so we can gauge as to what has happened on a weekly basis, okay, a week-on-week basis. We've got this order block over here, okay, it's quite a big order block on the daily, which is obviously in line with that sort of resistance or past resistance sort of point that we were talking about, around 40 and 39, okay. So there's going to be some support at that level. So prices could react quite strongly off them levels, and then obviously hopefully volatility actually fully comes in force. At the moment we are seeing a little bit of an uptick in volatility, however it's still very low, okay. So we're still waiting on the introduction of investors. Even when we're looking at Glassnode, there isn't anything kind of coming in. It's very bearish as things stand, okay. So there should be no reason why anyone should be thinking that that is the bottom, okay, and we are now in a bull phase. There should be zero kind of ideas in terms of this is the bottom and now we're going to the moon. There is no volume to back any of this, okay, so there is no buy volume whatsoever to back this move up, okay. No introduction of investors, in bullish investors, may I say, okay. Alts are getting absolutely shattered, okay. All of the investments leaking out, okay, of the market. So anyone that is basically preaching that now we are going past and going into all-time highs, I don't really see it, okay, unless within a very short space of time, and I mean within a few hours or 1 or 2 trading sessions, that we see some crazy volume, something like all the way back here where we see volume like this that really sends it up. There is no chance that we will be going up to these levels. It's just not happening, okay. So we still need to form structure, come down here. We fully need to be testing this 40,000 level out, as it is a key level on this chart, okay. So before anything else, 40,000 needs to be tested, either as support or breaking through and then retesting as resistance and then fully coming down. So that is a potential outcome. So breaking through, coming down to some sort of level over here, coming back up, testing as resistance, and then strong resistance to the point where we're seeing a candle, okay, massive wick, and then bam, we come all the way down, okay. Huge selling off. That's a potential. Another potential is obviously price just moving down from where it is, testing 40, okay, again testing it with a wick down, and then bam, pushing up to this level over here, 48, okay. This is your real test of next level in terms of resistance, okay. If we are to continue to kind of continue this sort of impulse up. So that is kind of it in terms of structure. Again, don't expect things to kind of really be flying. The alt market is going to be moving faster than Bitcoin. Obviously, it's holding more of a percentage of the market. Okay. Bitcoin is gaining, as you can clearly see, some market share. Great. So realistically, when we're at this order block over here, we could start finding some resistance, but we have the 50 moving average on the weekly close by, so we could see a test over there before really coming down again. Total crypto market cap, obviously the most important chart to really follow. Again, extremely bearish. As you can clearly see, we've got a big uptick in selling, sell side volume just down here. And we really need to watch that out. Okay, so if we go back, sorry, okay, yeah, we got uptick in this rejection candle just here, as you can see. Okay, and now we've only just started the week, right? And look at the uptick in sell side volume; it's huge, right? Okay, so that's something to really keep an eye on. As we've said, obviously volume is picking up, volatility is picking up, and you can clearly see that on this chart. Okay. Order blocks are very similar structure to Bitcoin. So we've got order block down here, but realistically we're going to have to see a test of this level at 1.76 trillion. Okay, that is where prices kind of test as resistance and actually broke through. So we could get potential test of support just down here. Okay. And then if it's able to hold, then we can expect it to kind of make another pushback of here. If not, if we get straight breakthrough, then we'll see a test back at this level, and then a continuation all the way down. Just remember, we've got these wicks down here that have open space for price to move down. So something to really bear in mind. But the big part of this chart is obviously that weekly volume, that weekly sell side volume, and we're only 1 day into the trading session, and it's already way bigger than the whole weekly volume of last week. So change up in volume. So that is something to really bear in mind with. It's 1 day into the trading week and we're already seeing volume kind of uptick. So big moves to kind of come. So yeah, let's have a little look at the DXY. So there you go. Adding to bearish sentiment, DXY is moving up. Okay, we could actually potentially see some sort of slowdown at some point. Okay, so somewhere around this region actually, if not actually just a straight push all the way up. Okay. We have already tested 1, 2, and a strong test, the third time of the 100 moving average on the daily. Hence why we're getting a decent uptick. Okay, that 100 is also the 200 on the weekly. Okay, which is also quite a key level on this chart over here, as you can see. So just like we said in the previous pre-market, so if you watch that, we did talk about getting some volatility, just like we got over here. Okay, so what we got here is what we're potentially going to see over here as well. So there's going to be a little bit of indecision. There's going to be a bit of the institutions kind of manipulating price and pushing price in extreme ways either way. Okay, and that is kind of what we're getting here. So we could see this and then a push down. Okay, so a real fly down here, because this isn't exactly the most bullish structure ever. Okay, so we could see bam, 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 and then just a big fall. Okay, so we got this level over here that's quite key, so we could actually see price coming down there, again testing that level up first. But for now, obviously, there's going to be a bit of volatility DXY, so there's going to be a bit of volatility in the Bitcoin chart and crypto in general. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. So we'll go over to Glassnode. Net transfer volume from 2 exchanges. As you can see, still below. Okay, no volume. Okay, so there's no actual buying interest, and that's kind of what we're kind of looking at right now. Okay, there was it distributions? On a move down. Unfortunately, we can't actually use these over here, which are kind of more linked to the institutions or addresses with balances greater or equal to $1 million. So obviously that's kind of much more linked to institutions. However, there's going to be somewhat of a similarity in terms of this chart and these charts over here. We will look into obviously getting the professional package to Glassnode, just because this really would help in terms of really being in touch with the institutions, because these are clearly institutional. 100k, 1 million. There's not going to be many people or many accounts that hold that sort of money. But anyway, we're moving down. So yeah, there's no spikes up in these sort of accounts. Therefore, basically meaning that we are still very, very bearish. Okay, so there's no introduction, there's no reasoning why people are thinking, right, this is the bottom, this is where I'm going to get in. There's no strength to these support levels acting as strong support to actually create a bottom or a strong bottom for them prices to move up. But yeah, so that is our pre-market analysis. We will keep you updated on Tuesday as well as Thursday, obviously. We do apologise, obviously, for missing last week's Tuesday and Thursday's updates. But we will be going back to that this week and moving forward. In terms of TradingView, we've got one more week of the ban. And then again, we will be going back to 5 charts daily between Monday and Friday. We know it helps everyone out, majorly as well as ourselves, making those points, posting those charts on a morning. Just kind of gives you a bit more clarity as to what's happened whilst you were asleep. And then obviously starting your day or training day. Okay, so we will go back to the normal great routine that we had once the ban gets lifted next week. But yeah, apart from that, thank you for listening. If you guys have any questions, please just write them in into the comment section. Or into the chat section, shall I say. I'll give you 2 minutes to write out any questions that you may have. If not, we'll kind of cut it out there. We are at 35 minutes, so it's actually quite about 10 minutes on average shorter than our normal video, which is great. But yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes to write any questions if you guys got any. If not, obviously, we'll move on with our trading week. Right, we okay? Alright, beautiful. Right, so yeah, we'll love yous and leave yours, and we shall see you tomorrow for an update in the evening time. So take care, guys. Yeah.